go.
Are we live?
Yes, you are.
Look at that, Jackie. We're live just for
We're
you.
live.
Welcome,
Yes, we
everybody. Welcome to our daily success call for Thursday, the 26th of March, 2020. John Lavenia here with you, with many of you, many of you, as has become customary. Yeah, we good? Okay, we're good. Let's go. Hold on. I'm hearing myself on YouTube. I was hearing Jackie say, yes, I'm live, as I was hearing my own YouTube video come over. That's the one thing you got to remember to do when you go live on YouTube is kill the volume on your browser. Otherwise, you're going to be hearing yourself on YouTube. Anyway, good to see you guys, as is customary. Let me open up the cameras here. Look, there's John Hyder. Hey, John. Jackie Gendron, Carol Ann, Esther. Esther, I want to do a sound check on you. I want to see what's going on with your microphone. There's, of course, Mark and Sylvia, Becky, Teresa. How's it going there, John? All right, Darlene, Jim, welcome. Look at all you guys. There's 87 people on here with us live right now. I'd be talking all day if I was just saying hi to everybody. So I try and pick different people each day to say hi to. Leanne, I see you, Leanne, and I want to give a special shout out to everyone who I am meeting with today. We've got a busy day on the business launch strategy. So Gerardo, good to see you, brother. All right. Let me go back to speaker view here. Let's see. Who is it that I need to do a sound check on? I just want to make sure that we've got housekeeping handled because this is our community. And I know sometimes I log in here and we hear background noise and stuff. And I don't like to shut down everybody's mics, but sometimes that has to happen. Esther, can you unmute your microphone and have a quick conversation with me?
Sure. Okay.
There's Esther. Sounds good to me. Everybody can hear
All
Esther.
right.
Okay. It sounded like Armageddon was going on in your background before. I don't know. All right.
Well, kids are all doing homeschool around here, so they're on their computers, and I'm like,
Okay.
Put headphones on.
Got it. Okay. Very good. We're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. All right.
You're
so
welcome.
go ahead and mute the lines. We'll get the show on the road. It seems like every Thursday I walk into a conversation about corporate entities, which is like on my favorite topics list. It's like way down here, like somewhere like down, if I start pulling crap out of the bottom, like there it is down there. Right. But it keeps coming up. Okay. So I want to give you some ideas on this real quick. I am not a corporate attorney. I am not a tax advisor. I am here to help smooth your path. That is my product. My product here within this community is you happy, successful, and making money on Amazon. That's my product, is you. Okay. So if there's any confusions that are barriers in between where you're at now and getting to that product, then I like to help you with those confusions. That being said, here in the United States, there's an entity called Prime Corporate Services, PCS for short. In fact, one of the guys over there is named John. And a lot of times John calls people like you exactly when you're supposed to have a meeting with this other guy, John, which is this John talking to you right now. People get confused. Oh, John, how you doing? And they're talking to him for a half hour. It's like, hold on a second. Who is this? John? Is this John Lavenia? No, this is John. I don't even know his last name. John over at Prime Corporate Services. So here's the thing to understand. Okay. It's good to have an entity. Your entity could be an LLC here in the United States, could be an LTD, a limited company in other jurisdictions outside of the United States. In the United States, LLCs are the simplest. It's called a pass-through corporation. So here's Bob Smith, and here's Bob Smith Enterprises, LLC. Bob Smith Enterprises, LLC does the work. All right. You are behind the scenes with that. And if somebody in the most litigious country on planet Earth, the United States, wants to have a problem, legal problem with you, they could sue Bob Smith LLC, which may or may not have assets that are worth suing for, right? But Bob Smith is an employee of Bob Smith Enterprises LLC. So that's the basic gist of it. The reason it's called a pass-through corporation, again, I'm not a tax attorney, but as I understand it, is that it's the easiest in terms of accounting. So that's an extra layer of accounting, which is also paperwork for you or for whoever your accountant is, which could also be Prime Corporate Services for a fee, which is not insubstantial. Okay. So now there's an additional layer of accounting. I've got multiple LLCs. I've also got an S Corp, right? So that's another kind of incorporated entity. It's an S corp. There's C corps. There's all different kinds of corporations. LLC is the simplest. Depends on your state. Could you set it up yourself? Yeah, hit your Secretary of State, file the paperwork, a couple $100, whatever it is, you're done. In some states, it's going to be more than that. Prime Corporate Services will jump through those hoops for you if you are not inclined to do that yourself for a fee. So everybody's got to get paid. That's fine. So that's good delegation if that's not your bag. I'll tell you, that is not my bag. I don't carry that bag. I don't want to learn that bag. I'm not good at it. I don't plan on getting good at it. So, there's the old saying, you develop your strengths and manage your weaknesses. How do you manage your weaknesses? You manage your weaknesses with the strengths of others. That's where leverage comes from. So in this case, yeah, if you want to leverage some money against your incompetence in that area, your chosen incompetence in that area, speaking for myself now, okay, and do whatever you want, then yes, Prime Corporate Services could be an answer. I know they've done some work with some of our Canadian members, and I've gotten mixed reviews on that. I don't know. I don't have any advice for you in Canada. Again, Canada would be a different type of entity, as would be UK, et cetera, right? Everything besides the United States. So that is an American operation. And I hear they work really well for Americans. I've had entities long before I ever heard that Prime Corporate Services existed. Okay, so they found their niche, and they've infiltrated that niche there among the best when it comes to that. When it comes to that specifically, just like Sophie is among the best when it comes to how do you make a profit on Amazon. Sophie, you found her, right? So this isn't, understand this whole thing. Yes, there's a few moving parts here, and this isn't, discount bargain basement. Okay, but it's do it right. That's what this is. So Prime Corporate Services is one way to do it right. Okay, but it's not. You know what? I was driving down the street. Where was this? I think it was Nashville, Tennessee. I think this is a chain that happens in the South called Budget Breaks. Anybody in the South, the Southern United States, Southeastern United States, to be specific. When I say the South, and English people are listening, they're like, "What do you mean, London?" No, I mean the Southeastern United States. So in the Southeastern United States, there's is or was, I'm going back now to the 1900s, a place called Budget Breaks, where you get your brakes done on your car. Right. And I was driving past it, and I'm sure they do fine work. Actually, I'm not sure. I've never been in the place, but I was driving past the place, and I was thinking, if there's one thing that I definitely don't want a good deal on is my brakes. Right. I want the best damn brakes in the world. That should be the name of the place. Best brakes in the world, not Budget Breaks, please. I mean, I like going. I really like stopping. Stopping is really, really good. Okay. So anyway, just something that came to mind. You guys see how my brain works here, right? How did I go from Prime Corporate Services to Budget Breaks? So yeah, there's that. I see Becky going north, southeast. All right. Okay. All right. So William's got your hand up. Hey, William, you want to talk? Come on out. Unmute your mic if you want to talk.
Yes, well, the other thing I wanted to add to that with Prime Corporate Services, that that's all tax right. You can write that off on your taxes at the end of the year. So you're able to recoup that.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone needs to know that as well.
Thank you. Good nuance there, William. And I certainly write off all accounting expenses and all the stuff we do. Right now, I'm talking to you on a $3,000 computer. I bought this for business, right? I mean, I'm not here watching kitten videos, man. I'm talking with you guys. I got an internet payment. That's $100 a month. Not to mention this iPhone, right? My goodness, I got to pay Verizon to use the iPhone. And you know what? I had to get in the car and drive to the office supply store and get paper for the printing machine there. So the car, right? That's a business. And oh yeah, this is a can of worms, baby. Can of worms. Not to mention the room I'm sitting in right now, which is part of my domicile, which is one of the 2 offices in my domicile. So that's about 40% of my actual living space that I pay for is office space, right? Because we work from home. Oh my goodness, where else can we go with this, right? So it's a game which we were born into. I didn't ask for this. I was born into it. So let's play the game. Make sense? Thank you, William, for that reminder. That's very good. Okay, where are we going with all this today? Let's turn up the philosophy meter here. Any other questions on what Prime Corporate Services is and why you may or may not want to participate? Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm in the UK, And I don't know if you have anyone to recommend for us to talk to about.
I think you got to call the Queen and then get her permission.
I'll get a number.
There's the Queen. The Queen just arrived. Malcolm, enlighten us. What do you do in the
Yeah,
UK?
baby.
Come on, Malcolm. What do you do over
panicking.
there?
They've shut everything down, John. It's doing me head in. I've been out lobstering this morning, so I've been feeding the village.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about LTDs? Malcolm, you know about LTDs. What do you do over there?
Go on. What do you mean, LTDs? What? What? In respect to what?
Setting up corporations. We've got a question on the floor
Oh,
from
yeah.
Lisa, I believe,
Limited
and she's not
companies.
American. She's British. So what do we do?
Right. Well, everything's available on the internet, or get hold of an accountant or a solicitor. She knows anybody to advise her. She probably needs a bit of advice, or get onto the corporate department. Yeah.
Did you get
You
that,
can
Elisa?
actually go on the internet, put it in, and you can actually buy one on the internet, Lise. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just put in limited companies. Everything comes up. Yeah.
What is it called? Sorry, your mic is breaking up occasionally. So
Yeah.
what
You're breaking up a bit on me, actually.
yeah.
Yeah. So
I
Malcolm
know
is
the name of the
suggesting-
company.
Put
It's
limited
called
companies
Company's
in.
House.
Yeah.
Just a minute. It's called Company's House, and
Yeah.
you just go online and you can just register £15 a company, and then you
Yeah.
just get in touch with an accountant, and then they'll sort all your tax situation out.
Oh,
Do
brilliant.
that for you.
Just
Okay.
ring an accountant up. He'll guide you through it all. Won't cost you a lot.
Thank you.
There you go.
Or what your
15
business.
pounds. 15 pounds on the internet. I'm getting ready to move.
Get
Man, that's
over
pretty nice.
here, John.
Right. Okay. I see that Michelle had a comment about Prime Corporate Services, that despite the name, they are not part of nor affiliated with Amazon. No, the word Prime existed before Amazon existed. So it has nothing to do with like Amazon Prime. No correlation whatsoever.
John?
Yes, go ahead.
There's so many moving parts in setting up this Amazon business. Is there one or two places where you can find most of the explanation of what you need to do?
Yes, you know what I'm going to do? I've got this has come up before. So apparently Thursday we end up talking about logistics.
Right.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a document that was found somewhere. Hold on, let me find this for you, John. I'm gonna post a document in the chat, and it's called Amazon Seller Identity Verification Guide 2019 for sellers. Does anybody else have that handy? You can just post that. Hopefully it hasn't changed in 2020, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this on Dropbox, and I'll get you a Dropbox link right now.
Yeah.
For
I
some
have it
reason-
handy. I have it
Oh.
handy, John. You said the account verification seller PowerPoint?
It was some sort of a PDF document. I'm finding it right now for John.
Okay,
and for
yeah, I
everyone.
have one with that title in my files.
Okay. And I believe this was discovered in the files section of the Product University Facebook group, I believe. Okay. There's a lot in there. So if you're in the Product University Facebook group, which I'm never in personally, but if you're in there, just go straight to the files section, which you'll find in the navigation bar, and you will find files such as this. But we're going to go ahead and post a public link here. Thank you, Bernadette. How awesome is
Okay.
Bernadette? Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
Nothing else. I'm organized. I can't say much else, but I'm pretty organized when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Right, good. I got the Dropbox link right here. And
Okay.
because I just threw it in my Dropbox, let me send this to everybody. And if you're watching this on recording, you're probably like, oh my goodness, I have no idea what we're talking about. Where's the link? I will put the link in the YouTube video description as well. Okay. So, so there you go. It's on the Zoom chat right now. So if that is the link, Bernadette, if that is the document you're referring to, you can put it there redundantly. I just threw it in my Dropbox for everybody to have.
Okay.
Good. All right. Now what are we talking about? Oh my goodness, we're already 16 minutes in. See how time flies like that, guys? Okay. So I was running today because Mike gave me that insane workout for yesterday that happens 3 days a week. I may do it more days a week than that, but I'm this morning I had limited time and I just ran around the block and stuff. And I was looking at palm trees and cactus and thinking about how does all this relate to what we're doing here. And the metaphor that came up for me as I was looking at a palm tree, and do I even want to share this with everybody? This is pretty thin. It's pretty thin, but I was thinking right now about how the palm tree, when it grows, it's got the fronds on top, and then the trunk itself keeps getting taller and taller. And as the new fronds come up on top, and then the old ones slough off. And then depending on how you like to groom your palm trees, you can cut those very tight and it's a nice smooth trunk looking tree, or you can cut them kind of loose and it's got little stuff hanging off the edge. It's kind of jagged going up. So those of you, if you can picture a palm tree, and there's lots of different kinds of palm trees, okay? But if you can picture one in your mind right now, you'll see what I'm talking about, right? There's the stuff coming off. And I was thinking, you know what, as this tree keeps growing, other stuff is sloughed off just as a natural result of growth. And I'm thinking, how does that relate to, well, my goodness, what we're doing here? Because that was what hit me when I was running. And I was thinking, you know what, we're all growing as individuals. We talked about this yesterday. We're growing as individuals, as is in a larger sense, the marketplace that we're playing in. We've got changing times right now. And I know a lot of people are focused on, the challenge, the negative, the, what's sloughing off. But can we not look at the top of that tree and see, oh, look at these nice, beautiful new fronds. Look at this opportunity. Look at what's growing right before our eyes. Yes, we separate the wheat from the chaff, or we trim the crap off the tree that's dead. Okay. But is it not true that tree must get taller because this other stuff came off of it? Do you not grow as an individual every time you go through adversity? You do. Or let me say this, you could. The fact that you survive adversity, the fact that you persevere, which by definition, per means through, severe means severity. So the fact that you're getting through severity, you're persevering, means that you've got the opportunity to grow. You're going to grow taller. You're going to leave behind some sloughed off, some dead stuff. Okay, which is fine. That's the cycle of life. Okay, but who you become in the process, who we become in the process, what the Amazon marketplace becomes in the process. It's just getting bigger, stronger, faster. Okay. Now, of course, we've had some delays on FBA, and I know that right now, if I wanted to order another one of my uniform shirts, which isn't a uniform, but we've had that joke on here before. John's always wearing a black polo shirt. Yeah, because I buy a ton of them, and I got a bunch of them in my closet, so this way I don't have to think about what to wear. That's not a decision I want to have to make every day. One less decision, right? That's called decision fatigue. Oh, now what should I wear? Really? I got to make another decision? No, I got more important decisions. Black polo shirt, done. All right. So if I ordered another one of those today, it would take 4 days to get here instead of one, like it normally does, because the warehouse is just, I don't know, right down the street. It's somewhere here in the Phoenix area. Okay. So that's fine. We've got growing pains right now. We've got all hands on deck, and we've got necessity. Oh, good news, by the way, toilet paper's in stock for all of our American, friends. I got the report yesterday, actually from my chiropractor, who was saying, great news, Costco's got toilet paper in stock. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. That's big win for us Americans here. So, and they're not taking any back. So if you plan on stockpiling, plan on using it. Yeah. But I'm thinking about how we persevere, which is something that every entrepreneur has to do. Whether it's, figuring out, with these uncertainties, these confusions, what do I do? Set up an account, right? Prime Corporate Services, or do I do an LLC, or what do I need to do here? So all that stuff can occur as growing pains or as confusions. But as we get through that, as we lay the ground and set the roots for this thriving business, there will be other considerations and confusions and barriers to overcome. Sure, there will be. Otherwise, this would be pretty damn boring, right? I mean, think about this. There's a lot of people who, and this is a very, very easy thing to sell on the internet, by the way. Here's the magic system, the easy button, the done for you everything. and just click the easy button, and gold bullion is going to rain down from the sky. Look at the Lamborghini, look at the bikini chicks on the yacht. See, I'm drinking the coconut drink here. This is it. This is the online marketing lifestyle. People buy that BS every day. Every day. They don't become anything in the process except someone who expects someone to do for them what they have been up to this point unwilling or unable to do for themselves. And I think I'm very confident in this too, is that the person you're becoming in the process of becoming truly a partner with Amazon, a partner with Jeff and this whole operation. And yes, someone who is causing things to occur in the marketplace, right? You're causing things to occur in the marketplace. You're not the effect, you're the cause of things that are about to occur in the marketplace. Who you're becoming in that process is actually quite more valuable than just the money you'll make. Because as you are here is as you are throughout your life. And I'm not going to get too philosophical about this, but I noticed that I show up a certain way in various areas of my life, but it's the same guy that keeps showing up. We alluded to this yesterday when we talked about reading books and personal development. All right. Do I just compartmentalize, like, here is now is my time to study and to become more of who I want to be. So let me read the books for the next 15, 20 minutes. Let me study some Sophie stuff. Let me do something to feed my brain. And now that half hour is over, let me get back to all the things that I've been habitually doing, which hasn't gotten me to where I wanted to go at this point. So is it, here's a half hour worth of personal development, and here's 23 and a half hours of the same old lawbreaker. I'm quoting Ralph Emerson now. He said, of what use to make heroic vows of amendment if the same old lawbreaker is to keep them, right? So who we become in the process is the big question. And I know, certainly for all of you, we're at capacity in this room, okay? And for those of you joining us on YouTube, because now we're in overflow conditions, I know for all of you, you're on board with that. To whatever degree you're on board with that. That yes, you choose, nobody held a gun to your head. You choose to become more in your life. And for that, you've got my total respect. Because I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of people running around like Chicken Little. The sky is falling. Temporary, but there'll be something else. There'll be something else for them to assign cause to after this crisis. Oh, it's not me because look at that problem, right? That's cause. And they perpetually live at the effect of circumstances. But if we just look at how life actually works, there's the palm tree. It keeps growing taller. Yeah, there's all the dead stuff laying on the side. That was cut off, right? Or sloughed off, or however it happened. Okay, but that tree got bigger, taller, and more beautiful. I think that's a nice metaphor.
Yeah.
Maybe you like it, maybe you don't. I don't know. Malcolm,
That's
you like
good.
it. Okay. So you don't have any palm trees where you are. I've got them all over the place, man. So that's one of the reasons I live here. I just love palm trees. I grew up in New Jersey where there are no palm trees. The first time I ever saw a palm tree was in Acapulco, Mexico. I was working in this franchise, right? Some of you know I used to run a franchise, and the franchise was hosting this event in Acapulco, and we're gonna go down. We're gonna have a few days together and whatever, right? And so I flew down. It was the first time I ever left the United States. I arrive in Acapulco, Mexico. I get off the plane. I smell the Mexican beach air, and I see for the first time in my life, for real, a palm tree. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there it is. Paradise, baby. So anyway, I live in a place where there's palm trees because I just love palm trees. All right, I'm done talking. Yeah, go ahead.
Been there, John. Been there, done that. I planted, we've got a local hotel here, and he let me plant about 60 there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get some pictures of it and bang them on it.
Hold
Same
on, you
thing.
can't grow those in England, can you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Certain types, yes.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
get you some pictures. I'll show you some pictures.
I
They've been
wanna
growing
see-
for 20 years. Yeah.
Oh, I need evidence. Yeah, I thought England was cold and rain every day. Always.
Well,
Okay.
it's where you put them. It's what you put
Right.
them in, isn't it? You'll see it. It's unbelievable. Everybody's
good.
made up with it when they come. They think they're abroad. Think they're on the Canary Isles or whatever.
Right. Good
Fantastic.
stuff.
It just gives them that when they come up the drive. Wow. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're all growing. So brilliant.
Nice. Well
Brilliant.
done, sir. Well done.
Yeah,
All right.
fantastic, John.
Any questions or comments
Thank you.
today on, we've got a few semi-topics on the table here. We're going to keep it light. Anything I can help anybody with? Any thoughts?
Why do you love palm trees, John? What is unique about it?
What is unique about a palm tree?
Yeah, why do you like it?
Oh,
Why do you like it?
because I didn't have any growing up on the streets of New Jersey.
And it
Okay.
reminds you of the sea. It reminds you of the sea, and you know that desert islands in it. It's sends your brain going, doesn't it? Fantastic, yeah.
Right, right. So,
Oh,
so I
okay.
think Adele, I think, you know, a lot of times we are enamored by that which we lack in our environment. Like that's exotic, man. That's like, whoa, you know. And when your life is, you know, the concrete jungle of, you know,
Yeah.
the major metro area, the biggest metropolitan area in the United States, right? New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Philadelphia, right? That's called the tri-state area. And, you know, yeah, we got some pine trees growing on the side of the road and, you know, whatever, seagulls, which we called flying rats. But then, you know, you get this picture in your mind of like, there's a palm tree. You know, the other thing that did it for me, and we're way afield of any like business building stuff right now, but I hope you're finding this uplifting. Everybody know what Monument Valley is? It's the standing rocks, you know, and they look like mittens. Very famous pictures. Some of the most photographed rocks in the world is Monument Valley. You've seen that, Lisa?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So that's on Navajo Nation, which borders, it runs across Arizona and Utah in the upper eastern corner of Arizona and Utah. And so I wound up doing somebody's sharing their screen. Oh, there's a palm tree. Look at that. Thank
There you
you,
go.
Skylar. Thank
Brilliant.
you. Look at
Brilliant.
that. There's
Yeah.
a version of a palm tree. Actually, that's two different kinds of palm trees, I think, as I'm looking at it. But anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm looking at Monument Valley, and I've seen so many pictures of this. I've seen this in Western movies, and you know, here's the cowboys riding through the West, and the family's going on the trip, and they're going on a road trip, and they're driving, and they see Monument Valley. I'm thinking, my goodness, this is the most photographed rocks in the world. And I'm going to go ahead and show you a picture of that right now because I've got it on one of my screens. I got multiple screens that I run here in my office. And so for those of you who are a little bit vague on what I'm talking about, this is one of the mittens. This is one of the, there's two of them. There's two mittens that look like this in Monument Valley. This one is on the Arizona side and the other one is just across the line into Utah, but they're both in Navajo.
Brilliant.
Anyway, you guys can all see that, I think. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Okay, good. So I decided I'm going to go on a little motorcycle trip for 4 days. I was living in Salt Lake City at the time, and I'm going to hit that spot, Bryce Canyon, Zion. We'll head down into Arizona through Lake Powell, which is the beginning of Grand Canyon, head down to Sedona, and then I'm going to go back up into Utah through Monument Valley, and then hit Moab and Arches National Park, and then head back up to Salt Lake. Anyway, I got to Monument Valley and I'm on my Harley, right? And I saw the mittens for the first time. I'm like, I've seen thousands of pictures of these rocks. Like people all over the world know these rocks. And I got teary-eyed. I was like, oh my goodness. And it was just a moment. I know we're pretty far afield of, you know, how do we make money on Amazon? Okay. But it was a moment for me of just being here now. Like, there it is. There it is.
Really?
Everybody on planet Earth probably has seen these pictures, right? If they got any ability to look at pictures, you know. So for me, that was a big deal. And why am I even talking about this? Because somebody was asking me why I like palm trees. Right.
Is there any palm trees there?
Right. So anyway, I saw Monument Valley, and then I took my family there, not on my motorcycle, but in our car, and they got to see it too. I don't know if they had the same experience as me. My daughter was like, yeah, that's cool. What's for lunch? So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Anybody else today? Come on out.
All right.
Yes. Leanne.
Yay. Leanne.
I didn't say much when I first got on here because I was like, I just want to listen and kind of get to know everybody and see who they are. But I mean, as I've been showing up for the calls and the more that I've been reading the books that you've recommended, I've come to realize that you really are teaching us discipline to be able to motivate ourselves to do this. And in the books, it's about keeping the faith in yourself and just continuing to do those maybe those 3 things that you need to do in order to move forward every single day. And then eventually you build these habits, and then you get into this mode where you're like, hey, I'm producing for myself. I can actually do this. And then when you think about how you learn how to do things,
Yeah.
you watch it on YouTube and you're like, hey, I can do this. And it's a small thing, but you just follow the steps that they've provided. And then, hey, you got that skill. And it's the same thing with money. If somebody else can do it, then why can't you do it? You know, you just have to follow their steps. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to add.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, John.
Oh, thank you. You know, Leanne brings up a great point, and that is the whole motivation thing. I don't know if any of you have read a book by Dr. David Hawkins called Power versus Force. Interesting book where he talks about how people experience life, and he's not the first one to come up with this, but how people experience life from whatever chronic emotional state that they live in. Okay. And he actually talks about this on tiers, like it's a calibrated scale. And so that people very rarely, he said, people very rarely make big advances in their life, in a lifetime. Okay. But there's one thing that would cause someone to jump higher on that scale to make, great advances. And that is motivation. Whereas a lot of people have held themselves back or pigeonholed themselves into thinking this is all I'll ever be. This is all I'll ever have. Okay. But with proper motivation, which I can't give you, which Leanne just correctly identified, self-motivation. So that's an intrinsic thing, right? That you either have or don't. And if you do have it, you can make great advances in life, but I can't give you that. You've got to have that for yourself. So yes.
I think you will. I think you help with that though, John.
Well, I think that's what Leanne was just talking about. It's like, it's like we're going to coming from the flank. Oh, there's an idea, cognition. Oh, I'm more motivated now. So while I can't say, here's the magic pill, now you're motivated, right? Send me a check. No, I can't do that. Okay. But what I can say is look at that, right? And now decide who you are in relation to that.
I think,
the other
I
thing
think
that
the teaching without
Malcolm's got the floor. Malcolm, and then Rebecca. Go ahead, Malcolm.
I think you're teaching without knowing, John, because I hit upon a point the other day when you said about money. We're short of money. We're short of money at the moment. We're losing a lot of money. And then you said you found the radio gear and you banged it on eBay and you sold it and you made some money, a couple of $1,000s. I was in the garage last night working with things and we pulled out about 40 items and they've all gone on Facebook today. So, but I was in the garage rooting and I could hear you in my head telling me what you'd done. So you were like posting a thought there to me, so it's stumped there. So I think you do a lot of that. And, I don't.
I think we lost Malcolm.
Somebody speak to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get
we got almost all of it. Thank you, Malcolm. Your internet's breaking up. Let's go to Rebecca real quick. Go ahead.
A lot of people say, well, I'm not motivated. I couldn't do that or whatever. But I think what people don't realize is you can actually create your own motivation. And one way is through reading. Reading consistently or listening to John. All of that will help you create your own motivation if you don't feel motivated. So the other thing I wanted to mention is your moment that you had on the mountain or on your scene that you saw.
Monument Valley.
That is the kind of moment where we get inspired to whatever. I mean, that's the kind of moment where inspiration comes. And so to create moments like that is always good, to find moments like that or create them in our lives. And that's where we get more inspiration to go forward.
Thank you. So glad you're here, my friend. So glad you're here. Thank you for those reminders as well. Amanda's got her hand up. Hi, Amanda. You want to talk? You can unmute your mic, Amanda, if you'd like, or not. You know how to do that, Amanda? She's frozen up. Okay, who else wants to talk real quick while Amanda's getting her internet going?
What's the name of that book you were just mentioning?
The book. Which book? Somebody was mentioning.
Power versus Force.
Oh, Power versus Force. Yes, Power versus Force by David Hawkins. The Hidden Determinants of Human Behavior. He studied why people make the decisions they make, and it's not the reasons they tell you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you got it. Going down a rabbit hole a little bit. Going down a rabbit hole. All right, good stuff. Anybody else today? Amanda, one more try on Amanda.
Hi there. I was just listening to what you were saying. You're all saying about motivation. And I was watching one of your other channels yesterday, John, where you were talking about outwitting was it the 6 fears or the 6 ghosts of fear?
Mm-hmm.
And I think discipline, if you're like really, really honest with yourself, you know, it's really interesting, like how many kind of variations of those fears manifest around you without you realizing it, unless you actually take the discipline to actually stop and be honest with yourself and see what they are. We all do it all the time. We all are subject to these like little niggling things that we've become so acclimatized to because we've lived with them all our lives. We don't even notice them anymore. And part of that whole drive towards motivation, I think, is really rooted in these causations, these kind of levels and degrees and dynamics of this kind of negative causation. And I think, you know, real self-reflection is like the beginning, really the beginning of that process towards like alleviating those barriers towards like real motivation. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Good
You're
stuff. Yeah, it sounds like we're all on the same page. Everyone who's sharing here, and it takes, you know, whatever form it takes in your own mind, in your own life. So thank you so much, Amanda, for coming out here. That's Amanda, everybody.
Hi.
Good times. All right. Anybody else today want to talk before we wrap up?
Yeah, hello to everyone.
Hello, who's this?
Yeah, I'm Adele.
Oh, Adele.
Adele, yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
I
Adele.
just love I just love what Amanda and Rebecca said. Motivation is something that we can nurture by feeding our mind. I love that. The books that we are reading is all about feeding our mind, and even what John is sharing with us every day. We feed our mind, and I'm particularly like very interested with what Weldon Long shared about the reticular activating system. This little part of our brain that's constantly noticing and identifying the resources and opportunities we need to reach our dream. This little part is called the RAS, Reticulating Activating System, and it's the central reason that our results in life can never exceed our expectations. If we want to change our life or create something better, we have to make sure the RAS is on board with our new program. So it's like my understanding is our RAS notice what's relevant to us and disregard what's irrelevant. Yeah, so
I question
by listening to this what John is sharing with us, reading the books constantly, we are actually redirecting our RAS to how we can achieve our dreams. So I'm all excited with all of this because feeding the mind is, I think, even much more important. But normally the world around us just emphasize feeding the physical body, but we have to feed our mind, especially like us, we are like grouping together with the leadership of Sophie to achieve our dreams, right? So in strengthening our RAS, we can achieve our dreams. And in strengthening our RAS, we are elevating our motivation level on this undertaking. So, and I don't know about you guys, but I am so my soul, my spirit is satisfied whenever I feed my mind. I feel that is very important on a daily basis. And I'm enjoying the books. Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you, Adele. And just for anyone who is not into that reading yet, Adele's referring to the reticular activating system, which is defined as a diffuse network of nerve pathways in the brainstem connecting the spinal cord, cerebrum, and cerebellum, and mediating the overall level of consciousness. So what that means is that life isn't as it is, but as you are. Your perception of things are either filtered in or filtered out based on your expectations and who's experiencing it. We can also get into synaptic connections and neural pathways and read Joe Dispenza and et cetera, et cetera. But the real bottom line to that, now that everyone is like, what are we talking about? The real bottom line to that is, I noticed that the palm tree is growing, right? I didn't focus on that the dead stuff sloughed off. Okay. In other words, I'm seeing based on who I am. That's what I'm experiencing. Okay. Thank you.
Great. That's good, John. Thank you for that. Yeah,
You're welcome.
we notice what's relevant to us, what attracts our attention based on our goal and
Right.
dreams and objectives. Yeah.
Right. Right. And that kind of goes in line with what Hawkins was talking about. And again, he's not the first guy, nor is this guy the first to talk about the experience of perception as it relates to what we have in life, right? What we experience in life. People can filter out opportunity. One example that I've seen quite often in my life, because I've done a lot of work in the business opportunity space, is where people knee-jerk reaction. Everything's a scam. Everything's a scam, right? So here's an opportunity to make more money, to do something entrepreneurial. Oh, it's got to be a scam. Why? Not because of the opportunity itself. The opportunity could be learn how to become an Amazon seller. I mean, is that a scam? No. I mean, do the cardboard boxes show up on your doorstep? Clearly this works, right? And yet, not because of the reality, but because of their perceptions, right? Oh, well, nobody makes money in those kind of deals, right? There's got to be something wrong with that. Or all rich people are bad, right? And I don't want to be bad, right? So who am I to engage in that? So we'll rationalize to ourselves to justify and to reinforce our already existing biases, not based on reality, but based on our perception of reality. So that's interesting. Does that person have any shot? Well, not as long as they're clinging to their beliefs that have gotten them this far, right? We've got to be motivated, back to what Hawkins was saying, we've got to be motivated enough to be willing to examine and potentially abandon some of our most cherished beliefs, which we didn't originate in the first place. Somebody else sold me that deal. Generations of ignorant but well-meaning people who came before me. I was born into that. You know, there's 5 and 6 generations deep of welfare recipients here in the United States. In the friggin' land of opportunity, we've got 5 and 6 generation welfare recipients.
We're the same. Ridiculous.
Right, on the dole in the UK,
dole.
right?
Spot
Right.
on.
So how does that happen? Does opportunity evade these people? And we can have arguments about socio-political climates and lack of opportunity in terms of education.
Why do we let it happen?
Right. But look, here's the thing. I think anybody could ostensibly look at this and say, yes, I agree. And that is that if someone was motivated, was willing to reach a little bit higher than the gutter that they grew up in, they will find ways to advance. Is it easy? No, of course it's not easy. Okay. But if there's no perception of that, like if we filter out all opportunities and all we see is the gutter, well, what you validate expands, right? The gutter, that's real. Okay. You get more gutter. So guys, this takes a bit of self-determinism and some real desire to change and to act, which is what motivation is in the first place. The definition of motivation, willingness to act, right? So thank goodness for you guys. And thank goodness that, no, not everything's a scam. Yes, there are ways to make more of yourself. Hooray for us, right? And this is one path. There's as many paths as there are people to take them. We had this conversation yesterday with Jan when it went to religious interpretations of, scripture versus scientific interpretations of, energy. And okay, great. So the point is, who's doing it, and what can you do to be, do, and have more of what you want in your life and less of what you don't want? That's it. So, and we're 46 minutes into this conversation. My goodness. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
John,
Yes.
Great call.
I heard Jason, and then who's next? Jason, go ahead.
I just want to say, I think a big piece that comes down to is self-worth and what people have grown up with and what they've seen. It really comes down to that. And if you can't get that to change somehow in your life, then you'll be stuck. You can't go forward if you think that you don't deserve anything.
Thank you, Jason. And you work with people who have chosen to go forward, right? So Jason's into the physical, training kind of stuff.
In the midst of doing that, we come across stuff, the barriers that why they can't move forward. And it becomes a big emotional piece. They might have an emotional block, a spiritual block, or whatever it is, So it's like, you gotta get to the root of that problem in order for them to advance. Once they get past that problem, or they see it in a different way, then all of a sudden they start making decisions that they would never have made before. I've had many patients do that. Like totally stuck, and then all of a sudden they come in and they're like, oh, by the way, I decided to get a divorce or move or whatever. And it's like, well, where'd that come from? They're like, I don't know, I just decided to do it. And I think a lot of it has to do with working on the whole system of their brain and their body and communication. But it comes down to the self-worth. All of a sudden something changed in their self-worth.
Yeah. Question, Jason. Have you read Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz?
No.
I think that would be right up your alley. He was a plastic surgeon who studied why some people change internally once they've had the reconstructive surgery or whatever, and others still look themselves in the mirror as I'm less than, I'm not enough, even though I just got plastic surgery or whatever. So he was looking at what he called cybernetic mechanisms, which is like an autopilot, which determines your destination, not what you think, but your innermost beliefs about your self-image. Right. So interesting stuff. We got to wrap up soon. I see Carol Ann's waving her hand. Carol Ann.
I was just the only way I can simplify it is to say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. There has to be a reason why that horse wants to drink.
Yeah.
You can salt his oats.
Yeah. It's like, you gotta want it from inside yourself to.
I think, John, the trouble here is with us, with the dole, they just keep feeding them. And while they're feeding them and giving them cars and that, why do they want to do anything else? You've got to give these people a chance to break out of that, and you're not going to do that while they keep getting money, and kids get fed, and they have more kids, so they get more money. We need the sheep, obviously, but I don't know.
Well, I think Carol's hitting on something big, right? Is the idea that you can't force people, like we were just talking about motivation, right? And if society is set up not to prevent the strong from winning, but to prevent the weak from losing, there are people whose standards are low enough that they'll say, well, as long as I, keep getting the cheese, like I'm a rat, I'm getting cheese, then that's the whole game. That's all life is, right? That's unfortunate. Okay.
There's a lot of them.
Right. Yeah. So
I have a friend, Donna, and I keep trying to get her to be more positive, but she goes, no, that's not her thing. So she's my friend. I love her the way she is, but you can't change her mind. She's just one of those ones that fit in that cheese eating thing.
Bubble. Right. Everything's a scam. I'm a victim. Everybody's wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, she's a good person.
Understood. Well, we'll see how far she wants to take that. Right. So you can go as far as you'd like, I suppose. Anybody else? Last call. We're 50 minutes in.
John, can I just, it's a question that was raised earlier on, and it's specific.
To be honest, last time you came out here, we had a philosophical debate for a half hour. So if it's something that we can answer in 5 minutes.
No, this is 1 minute. Right. Someone asked the question, if you're particularly in the UK, where to look for information on setting up a new business. And I just want to drop, I think it was Elisa IP, not sure, but I sent her a message anyway. But yeah, easiest I think is to go to www.gov, it's gov.uk, and type in the search bar something like working for yourself, and all the information is there.
Thank you. There you go.
LTD. Yeah.
So, and the other
Right.
choice was, what was the other choice? Was it Elise was saying?
Company's house.
Company's house, yeah. Let me-
Yeah, Company's House, you can look up to see if a name of a company that you want is already registered, because it won't allow you to register a company or a similar one that's already registered.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I'm just going to acknowledge John Holcomb, who was saying actually he spent way more than Prime Corporate Services for third-party services. So Prime Corporate Services, CPS, PCS, Prime Corporate Services could actually be a savings for you, depending on where you've been doing business before. And so good. Thank you, John. Good information there. Everybody's got the Dropbox links. Also, Bernadette posted some documents. Thank you, Bernadette. And I'm seeing here if I'm missing anything that I can address right now.
Yeah. And John, I also posted in the chat a link to one of the Friday masterclasses where they go over the do's and don'ts of setting up your seller account. It was a really good session.
Very good.
So I
Thank
posted
you.
that somewhere along here. Yeah.
Thank you. Lisa, thank you, Lisa, for your acknowledgement. Thank you so much. Okay. And yes, I'm going to be in contact with all of you once you go through your business launch strategy sessions. I know I've got a bunch of you on my calendar for today. We're going to get to everybody as fast as we can. So only so much John to go around. Okay. Very good, guys. Let's wrap up. I will see you all here for Fun Friday, which is tomorrow. Thank you for being a part of this community.
Thanks, fella.
Thank you,
Okay.
Jen.
Thanks, fella.
Bye for
Bye.
now.
Everyone, thank you.
Bye.